Open Communities. As you well know, this past fall, Gail Schechner, the leader who steered the course of Open Communities for the last 22 years, announced her decision to step down as executive director and her desire to pursue other opportunities. This left our board with the enormous task of finding a new executive director, and the enormous task of how to replace an executive director who not only gave every ounce of her passion and intellect to the organization, embodies the will to struggle and the strength to prevail that is the soul of our mission. At Open Communities, we were determined to do this great risk. It was a heavy responsibility and a distinct privilege to conduct this search with the utmost care, knowing that we are acting so many people who deeply believe and support the mission of Open Communities to educate, advocate, and organize for just and welcoming community. Today I'm glad to report that our hard work yielded exceptional results. After very careful selection, in charge of this transition, identify an individual with great leadership, skills, and proven record as social justice in attain unanimous agreement in the decision to appoint this person as the new executive director for Open Communities, the person in charge of leading the course of this organization for the years ahead. This person is David Luna. So we will hear in a minute from David Luna himself. We will learn more about his vision as new executive director. But first of all, I have the most sincere appreciation to every member who was part of this transition, including our very distinguished board members at Open Communities. Our Vice President, David Palma, our Treasurer, somewhere around, Treasurer Tommy Fitzgibbon, Tommy somewhere around, Secretary Nancy Goldberg, who is with us today, as well as Loretta Sortino, Anita Sowdoskian, sometimes I cannot pronounce properly, but Courtney Cockrell, Dilna Waritz, Katie O'Neill, and Emily Law. Thank you so much for your support. Gail, you led this Open Communities, this organization, all these years with great passion and compassion. And you have been very instrumental in transforming this organization. Thank you for all those years of dedication. We will not be here where we are today without you.
And Gail, you obviously have been more than instrumental in making it so. So you made my job today a pretty easy one, because you've already articulated your tremendous impact on than anybody could have. In the opening stanza of the farewell poem you recently wrote, you said this: community begins with housing. When you can live here, you are embraced. Community, these words of yours say so much about everything you believe and have accomplished in your 20 plus years as executive director of Open Communities. It's the word begins that's at the heart of your ethos. And in order to be part of a community, you have to have a place in that community. A house, a home, 4 walls and a door, working plumbing and good insulation. But as you say, Gail, that's just the beginning. It's just the start. People deserve a place to live. They also deserve respect, accommodation, and opportunity. They deserve to be welcomed into the life of our communities. And this gets to the other meaning of begins, the carefully chosen word at the heart of your legacy. It was but narrowly focused, fair and affordable housing organization, Interfaith Housing Center of the Northern Suburbs, and broadened its mission to acknowledge the reality is only the beginning. We will not root out systemic injustice simply by fighting for fair and affordable housing, you said. We have to educate for justice across the board. Economic justice, education justice, health justice, immigration, transportation. And so you spearheaded the move to broaden Open Communities' mission, a seminal change that will define our work for generations to come. In concrete terms, your vision spawned the Justice Project. It not only defines what a welcoming community looks like, but establishes teams in every town in the Open Community Service area that are holding local power structures accountable for making the Justice Project's definition of welcome a reality. Your vision also is leading to partnerships with other justice-focused organizations and individuals, which are bolstered by our housing expertise, even as we are bolstered by their expertise in other arenas. Finally, and I say this as a member of the steering candidates for the Open Communities Executive Director position, not a very enjoyable task, right? Not a task I'll ever be part of again. And it was your vision that led us to choose David Luna, which was an enjoyable task, as your successor, a progressive leader with experience in many facets of justice work, including healthcare, immigration, and housing. Gail, the northern suburbs of Chicago, are indeed better places to live and work because you live and work here. We know you will continue to fight the good fight. We know you will always be a friend and supporter of Open Communities. Please be grateful. And so, on behalf of everyone gathered here, Liliana and I would like to present you with this token of our appreciation.
The director of Open Communities for the last 22 and a half years. I can't express just how much I've enjoyed sharing my life, the organization, and your lives for all of these years. And it's so wonderful to see the staff, the board, thank you Liliana, thank you David, our colleagues in the fair housing movement from the Southern Suburbs, from Waters Committee for Better Housing, former board presidents here, and of course all the grassroots campaigns, everybody from Wilmette Cares to the Evanston Interreligious Sustainability Circle to Morton Grove, Skokie where I live, Wilmette where I used to live, and I'm just so absolutely thrilled being here in Winnetka with all of you, and of course so happy that Open Communities has selected David Luna, and I look forward, as all of you, to know him and working together. And I would just also encourage you, I have made a little contribution to the organization. The organization, as all of you, this is where we get our legitimacy. And glad to see Mark Miller here, from the founders, Miller family. This is, yes, the agency enforces the Fair Housing Act, which is a federal law, but its real strength lies in these, and boy, do we need that grassroots support for just, inclusive, and diverse communities more than ever. So thank you very, very much.
Justice work. The search led us to David Luna. Luna has deep experience in many areas of social justice. During his 30 years of career, he has worked extensively with the Chicago Latino community to advance immigration, education, housing, and economic social justice. Most recently, Luna has worked in the field of health justice, working with health organizations in the effort to eliminate health disparities. In our search, we were looking for the skills necessary to methodically plan and execute our expanded mission. David actually happens to have those specific leadership skills as an expert in strategic planning and development, as well as organizational change, policy advocacy, and diverse and inclusive practices. Valuable skills that Open Communities needs at this point in our transition. As we were searching as well for a leader who knows also firsthand the discrimination and a sense of exclusion felt by many in our communities as well. And as a Mexican American growing up in a working Chicago neighborhood, David Luna has experienced the best and the worst of the American melting pot. And that has given him sense of compassion and empathy for others. This is why our search ultimately led us to David Luna, an individual with proven record of leadership and strong commitment to our mission. And this is why we are so enthusiastic to be here today, honoring an incredible legacy upon which we can build, but with great expectations as well for our future. This is why it is my great honor to officially introduce to you our new Open Communities Executive Director, David Luna.
By a generosity of spirit, an attitude of welcome that shows me that Open Communities very well deserves its name. Members from Gail, who has been extraordinarily helpful in helping me transition into this role. Thank you, Gail. I can't thank you enough. And from our various supporters and partners, such as all of you here in this room, I have felt very much. I am particularly grateful for the patience, goodwill, and encouragement shown to me by the people with whom I now stand shoulder to shoulder every single day, whom I am proud to call my colleagues, the members of the Open Communities staff. Let me name them for you. Netta Burton, Carrie Cutler, Alicia de la Cruz, Anna Dominoff, Kyla Jones, Oliver Jury, Laura Kochevar, Gabrielle Machabansky, Liliana Salcido, Brendan Saunders, Jess Scheinflug, and Michael Stumpf. I have been doing justice work in both the nonprofit and corporate realms for nearly 30 years now. Rarely have I found such a passionate and committed group of individuals gathered together under the same roof. They are a blend of ages, experiences, backgrounds, perspectives, and talents. That together, we are going to bring a vision of welcome even closer to being a reality for all people living and working in these northern suburban communities. This very much links to what I believe. I've only just begun to forge relationships with the many people and groups in our communities and who are affected by those decisions. But my firm conviction is that vision belongs to all of us and is the responsibility of each of us. If we are going to find the common ground and forge the bonds that will transform our neighborhoods, villages, and cities into places and meaningful inclusion, we must collaborate. We must be respectful of all perspectives, we must honor history, and we must bring all stakeholders together to shape a collective vision, one that is both powerful and practical. To speak about powerful visions, I believe that Open Communities' powerful vision of communities that are welcoming for all is not merely preferable, it is an absolute necessity. We are living in a time when the forces that would institutionalize fear and suspicion must be countered by forces that institutionalize acceptance and inclusion. I believe, and I hope you share my belief, that Open Communities is such a force. We join our force to the forces represented by all of you here in this room to together counter the bitter divisiveness that presently characterizes dialogue. We do this so that such divisiveness does not come to shape the local laws and ordinances by which we live. If we stand strong together, we can not only stand divisiveness, we can reverse it. In speaking of practical visions, I am speaking of the capacity to translate passion into and sustainable change. For Open Communities, this practice of practical visioning must be both a collective process and one that begins by listening. listening to one another, listening to the wisdom of like-minded organizations, and listening to the many people and perspectives that make up the communities that we serve. I propose that listening is a fundamental leadership practice for me and for every member of the Open Communities Board and staff. I propose that listening will be the critical first stage of the strategic planning process that Open Communities will soon launch. A process that hopefully will help us become the most effective organization that we can be. And I propose that listening will be the most effective emissaries possible of Open Communities' guiding belief. The belief that our communities thrive when they open the door and welcome to everyone, regardless of race or ethnicity, color, immigrant status, physical challenge, familial status, or relative income level. I am excited to begin this journey. I am humbled, truly humbled, to be among you. As Dr. Fargo mentioned, I grew up in multicultural neighborhoods in Chicago among hard-working people. I saw wonderful examples of community members taking care of each other. I also saw and experienced institutional racism. My experiences led me to draw two fundamental conclusions that have shaped my adult life and my career. Number one, most people are good and decent. Number two, good and decent people must be vigilant if justice is to shape and characterize the written and unwritten rules and practices by which we live. Thank you again for coming tonight. I hope to have the chance to get to know each of you and every one of you in the days and weeks to come. And I very much look forward to all of us coming together for the powerful and practical work that we have ahead.